Hello and welcome to Best for Women Live, the podcast. So delighted to have you join me today. If we haven't met before, my name is Brooke Gordon and I am delighted to have you join me. Our guest today is Kimesha Walters, who's going to be coming in from Oasis Integrated Communications. We are so excited to have her come on today to grow your business through the through public relations. So this is going to be super exciting. Perfect, and here she is. Excellent. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello. We got the tech all sorted. I'm so glad to have you here, Kimesha.
Awesome. Happy Monday. How's it going so far?
Absolutely fabulous morning so far. I'm seeing some great weather outside, which is a really nice shift for me. Something about a tornado last week. It was pretty wild, so happy to know that there's been a bit of sunshine. How about yourself?
Same here. I mean, you can tell by the background that I'm just channeling all the summer energy that I can find.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So welcome, Kimesha. I'm so glad to have you here. You and I had a chance to meet last year at the Canadian Small Business Women brunch, their strategy brunch, and it was awesome to find out we were both in Hamilton.
Yeah. That was fantastic. It was great meeting you. And of course, I think sometimes when I'm meeting people, I'm trying to explain. I live in Hamilton, and sometimes they want to know where is Hamilton, and then I have to explain it. So when I met you, it was so refreshing to know that here's this amazing person who is also from Hamilton. I don't need to explain myself, and she knows everything, and she's able to guide me. And I can tell you that since that first meeting, it was just phenomenal connecting with you. And I'm so happy to be here today to speak about all things public relations.
Oh, amazing. Delighted to have you. Kimesha, we've got a little bit of echo on my side. Hopefully that is going to keep coming through. I'm not sure if you have a headset in.
I don't have a headset in, and I'm actually not hearing it, but maybe just let me know if it continues. I probably would need to get one.
No, that's okay. We'll figure it out. So Why don't we kick off with what is public relations and what does it actually mean?
Okay, so first off, I'll just give a little bit of background about myself and what I do at Oasis Integrated Communications. So I'm Kimesha Walters, the founder and CEO of Oasis Integrated Communications, where I like to say I help my clients to find their paradise. And what that really means is that I help to get you noticed, I help you to get more eyes on your business, and I help you to use that publicity to generate some kind of momentum to get you the leads that you need and to get you, of course, more sales and more profits, because that's really what it's all about in the business. And a little bit about my background. So I've been in public relations now for well over a decade. I think it's about 14 years thereabouts. I'm told I have a certain je ne sais quoi. So it's all about the positive energy. I'm passionate about authenticity. I'm really a strategist by design. So everything I do is strategic. And that's one of the things that makes what I do special and what I do at Oasis Integrated Communications so special and so unique that, you know, we can help the clients to get the results that they need, or sometimes the results that they didn't know that they needed, right? So in terms of public relations really is the strategic management of the relationships between an organization and its various publics by using different methods of communication.
Okay, let's break that down, because that's right. Okay, so, and I love this. So I also love the introduction. Before we dig in, I want to just pull out two pieces that you said that I think are so valuable. One of them is the idea of how you're able to actually literally integrate all of this, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I need to do this, and they focus on the action and they don't think through why are you doing the action and what is it you're trying to achieve. And I love that you actually build that in from the very beginning. So that is awesome.
Yes, we build it in from the very beginning, because without the strategies that drives the different methods of communication, the integrated services that we offer, then a lot of times you'll find that you might not be as effective as you need to be. And I'm telling you this coming from a perspective of working with some of the leading and some of the most iconic brands across the world. I'm talking about the likes of Samsung, Hyundai, or Hyundai, depending on where you are. Frito-Lay, Pepsi. In Canada here, I've worked with BMO, I've worked with L'Oreal, I've worked with so many leading brands, but it all comes back down to strategy. What I really love about public relations, and I think one of the things that has kept me here over time, is that it's such a powerful tool that you can use for your business growth and integrating yourselves into the community for a lifelong contribution, not just by employing people, not just by selling your products and services, but by making a greater impact on the world. With public relations, we are able to influence the way you see somebody, the way you see a brand, the way you see a business, and that is incredible. I cannot underestimate that enough. I cannot speak about that enough, sorry.
Well, this is perfect because we got time today to do that. Kimesha, as you sort of talk about that, can you give me some practical examples? Like, what does it actually mean and what does it look like? For someone who has not used public relations before, they may not have they've heard the word, but they don't have a good sense of what are you actually doing?
All right, that's a great question. And I'll start with one of the examples I can use for a small business that I worked with back in Jamaica that has had exponential reach when they tapped into public relations as a tool to get themselves in the grow and to get more publicity and more visibility. So there's this particular restaurant, bar and grill, that when I went in to check what they were doing and to talk about us working together, they had just about started painting the building. It wasn't finished. They were not ready for launch yet. They were just getting ready to do everything. But my colleague, Simone, at the time, she knew that I was doing amazing work in public relations and this person needed some help. It was a friend of hers. So she got me in to come and speak to the person. And we had some conversations and I got to work with the strategy. Now, I'll just give you a little background. It's like a lot of people gravitate towards the GTA in Canada for fun, you know, the top restaurants, the this, the that. But we know in Hamilton, we have amazing restaurants and bars. So it's kind of a situation like that. There's a Kingston in Jamaica where it's a central hub, you know, there are lots of restaurants, everything is happening and it's just a great energy. But this person wanted to start a restaurant on the outskirts of town in another parish called St. Catherine and in a smaller town called Old Harbor. So it was a unique kind of setup. But when I went in, you know, I figured, you know, talked about his background, what were his strengths at the time, why did he pick Old Harbor? He's actually from there, and so he wanted to have a greater impact on the community, right? So that would have created employment for the people in the area. So we looked at all those touch points and then we built the strategy around that. So we got TV interviews, we got him on the radio, on TV, in the newspapers as well, and then we took it further. So when it came around to the holidays, I think the launch was early in the year. When it came around to the holidays, we had a treat for the community. So the kids, they came out, they were able to play, they were able to have a lot of fun. We got the restaurant owner to be serving the kids, and it was amazing. And we built it from there until at one point as well, I strategically set him up as well to do some more corporate social responsibility to give back to the community. So I reached out to one of the children's homes, kind of like an orphanage in Jamaica, and we coordinated to have a student who was wanting to become a chef, somebody who loved the idea of being a chef, and we got him to come in and live and experience a work day, all for free. Everything was set up, and then at the end of it, he also got a scholarship. And I can tell you that business has been thriving ever since. So public relations, the reach is phenomenal. There's so much you can do, and I find that there's a misconception a lot of times that it's too expensive or everybody can do it or social media can cover it. None of that is true.
Okay, tell me why.
So, okay, so with social media, Brooke, I know you have this channel, you've had it for a little while now, and you have your own channel as well. With social media, you're basically reaching your own audience, right? Sometimes you're able to reach an external audience, which is amazing. But a lot of times you're self-promoting. With advertising, you are self-promoting. With marketing, you want to reach the right customers, you want to reach the right target audience with the right message. You're also self-promoting. But with public relations, you're getting somebody else to tell the world how amazing you are. You're getting somebody else, a trusted journalist, to talk about the phenomenal services you offer and the impact that you're creating as a business in your community, in your business space, and in the world. And that is the power of that is undeniable, because that's third-party endorsement from a trusted source.
Okay, I love this for so many reasons, because, you know, I wanted to pick out, I love that you started by asking this business owner a little bit more about his personal story. Why is he doing it? Why did he choose the location? What are some of the things that he's hoping to create as an impact? And then from there, being able to look at, okay, and how do I then start building this message and activity both to be authentic and true to what his personal story is?
Yes, amazing. Because that's where it all starts. If you think about, you know, maybe even your career, you found something in yourself that you liked. You started working at different jobs, and you found something that sparked more interest in you. And what I love about your podcast is that you tend to ask the people why they started a business. That question about starting with why is super important, because that's where the true authenticity comes in, and that's where the power of your particular story comes in. Because anybody can start a business, right? And we all have stories, but a lot of times, if you are not trained to extract the power of that story, then it will go nowhere, because you don't know how to build up the strengths. And sometimes you have to kind of downplay the weakness, or you find it and present it in such a creative way that people want to buy into your story. People don't just buy products, or they don't just buy services. They buy because they believe in you. They believe that you can do something for them and add value.
Oh, I'm seeing little hundreds trickle up down below.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? When people buy from other organizations, there's a connection there that they want to have. They want to know who it is that they're buying from. And I think it's partly that connection to passion, that connection to something that just lifts someone up. There is, and I believe, that transfer of energy when you have that purchase from someone, right? You're sort of almost bringing into your life some of their passion and energy through their product and service.
Exactly. So that's where it goes. And when you're just starting out as a business owner, when you're just about starting to build that relationship that we talked about at the beginning, you know, that strategic communication and the gelling of that relationship, you need to get to that place where people know, like, and trust you. The value of public relations is that we help you to get that done. We are trained to get that done. And as Kimesha and as Oasis have been doing that for clients at different stages of their growth. So I gave you the example of a startup. I've had individual clients as well. I've worked with people in music. I've worked with some clients that are scaling up, and I've worked with corporate giants like Western Union. I recently completed a project with Western Union USA because they wanted to reach a Jamaican audience in Philadelphia as well as the diaspora, and it was phenomenal.
Okay, let's touch on that a little bit, because you've given us a couple examples. So tell me a little bit more about sort of this global presence and this ability to have sort of international connection.
So I see myself as a global communicator, and I think I kind of had that going a little initially, because when you work with a brand like Samsung and when you work with a brand like Microsoft, you have to think globally, right? So the perspective there is important. And I love having those types of clients, because it allows me to think bigger, because sometimes I get into a project wanting to think bigger for some of the smaller clients, but sometimes because of other constraints, we're not able to establish and to work towards that goal. But when you have a huge client, now you're able to step into that more and bring in the global communications, even if you're about to scale it down to a smaller portion. Maybe it could be here in Canada, we think about the local level or the provincial level, or it could be in the States where we look at a particular geographical area.
Okay, I love that. So getting really specific as well, again, on who and where.
Right. So strategy again, that's super important.
So you've given us a couple examples, and I think you illustrate it really well. It could be television, it could be newspapers, it could be interviews. So tell me a little bit more about the range of what's in public relations.
Ooh,
yeah,
I love this question.
It's a big question. I acknowledge that.
I love this question because a lot of times when I think about it, public relations people, we have not done justice to public relations. Because when you hear PR, a lot of people like, and here in Canada, because PR is synonymous with permanent resident, some people will not get it immediately.
I never made
but
that connection.
Relations, it's huge. There's so many aspects of public relations, right? There's the strategic side of it where, you know, we have to plan what we need to do, where we are, where we need to get to. There's message development. I've written speeches, I've planned events, I've done social media graphics, I've done social media calendars, social media content. I've helped my clients to get into the different traditional media that you just mentioned. I've also incorporated podcast interviews. There's been influencer management and all of that. And like yourself, Brooke, like, you know, I know you go to different conferences and events. Public relations, we help to align our clients with some of the best platforms that they need to speak on and be present at. There's corporate social responsibility as well, which is one of my favorite, because I'm big on volunteering. I'm a philanthropist. I have my own charity in Jamaica. There's so many elements of public relations, but a lot of people, when they think they need PR, they think they need marketing. So if you say marketing, it's like, but when you say public relations, sometimes it doesn't immediately reach. So I'm happy you asked that question, because the work that we do is, it's amazing. Like, there's so many different elements to it, and I feel a lot of times, you know, the people don't know, so we have to educate.
100%. And I think that's really an important distinction, but I want to dig a little bit more into the philanthropy side of things, because you and I both volunteer. And,
yes.
And so I actually had a chance to come and hear one of your workshops, which I think was one of your volunteer elements, being able to speak at the YWCA in Hamilton, which is an area. So for those of you who are listening internationally, it's Hamilton, Ontario, because there are Hamiltons across the world. And one of the things about that I just love is this idea of being able to give back to women in the community. And I was there on behalf of the organization that I volunteer for, which is Sir Optimus. So tell me a little bit more about how volunteering fits in, both from a public relations perspective, but also how it fits in for you.
From the public relations perspective, and then how it fits in for me. Okay, so from the public relations perspective, I feel like organizations, because you're incorporated so much into the community, it's always good to have a positive presence and people knowing you and feeling and seeing what you're doing for them. And as I speak about that, I'll take you back to a little example with my client, IGL in Jamaica. They supply natural gas and oxygen at the hospital. They're huge, they're massive, right? And I remember at the start of the pandemic, everybody was talking about pivoting, and you need to do this and you need to do that. And you know, we were having these lockdowns, and IGL, because they also supply the cooking gas that a lot of people in Jamaica use, because sometimes the electricity prices are so high, they have a wide customer base. And instead of just talking about pivoting, IGL worked with the Jamaica Red Cross, and what we did is we actually went into the communities. Some of them people were cut off, some like were elderly, some of them they couldn't afford the groceries that they needed, and we delivered care packages across several communities in the island. And that is an example of corporate social responsibility and showing up for your community in a time of need. So people will see and remember the kindness that you have for them. And I think that's what organizations should aim to do, not just be there to make profit and to get what you can from the people, but also be able to contribute back towards that. And for me, growing up, I feel at a tender age, you know, based on how I grew up without my mother, because she left Jamaica when I was 9. When I was 5 years old, a lot of people in Jamaica can relate to this story because our parents went overseas at some point to be able to cater to us financially and provide us with the education that we needed. But I've always had people around me who were helping, people around me who motivated me to be the best that I could be. And when I was going to school, I think it would be like the elementary level here, I was so little and I was so shy and I didn't want anybody to see me. And I would do my work at school and I would write and the teachers would love it. Everybody would love it. And there comes the spotlight every year, I get a prize. So because of that reward, it encouraged me to keep doing better. And each time it allowed me to acknowledge the value of people helping me. And so I decided to do that as soon as I was able to. You know, I set up a charity. I volunteered with different organizations from my high school back in Jamaica. I came to Canada, I did the same thing. I've done the YWCA in Hamilton, Ontario. I've done organizations like the Canadian Small Business Women that cater to women across Canada who are in business. And I've done so much work, but because for me, I believe in helping to inspire others so that they can become not just who you see today, but who maybe they don't even envision that, but a bigger person, a bigger vision for themselves.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And I love that it's affected you from when you were young. It's interesting. It didn't, for me, it wasn't until university that I developed my passion for supporting other women. And so before that, it was, it just hadn't really occurred to me. It wasn't something that I was exposed to the same extent. And it was when I got there that I knew that so many women hit the glass ceiling and do have real and actual barriers that are preventing them from being able to move forward for their dreams. So that was my inspiration. So I love that. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. And I think, you know, we definitely come to this realization at different ages and stages. Yeah. I think what's important is that we're able to share where we started, how we started, so those at whatever stage that they are in life will be able to embrace it, because we need people around us to support and to keep building the communities, because a lot of the times government funding doesn't cover it, and sometimes even with the business funding there's still a gap, so we can all help as individuals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Kimesha, what are the types of projects that you work on currently? What are some of the ones that, you know, if people were looking to figure out what do I supposed to do for my public relations, right? Integrating it with their social media, integrating it with their marketing, which we now know are all not the same. So, so tell us a little about how you would get started. What are some of the things that you would recommend to someone who's thinking about it?
So if you're just getting started on public relations, there are several things that you need to get started. First off, it's great to have a branding in place. I like to think of it as the aesthetics of the brand. Do you have a logo? Do you have all of those things in place? How's your business working? Who are you catering to? And if you're thinking of going the public relations route at this point, why now? Are you launching a product? Are you launching a service? Is something new? Has something changed? Do you think you have a powerful enough story? And then you put all of those together, and then of course we can take you to greater heights.
Oh, I love that. That's a really good one. Why now? Not just why, but also why now?
Yes.
That's an excellent question. In the time we have left together, Kimesha, what are some of the things that you'd like to share that we haven't covered? Because I know we've covered a lot.
Yes, I think we've covered a lot. I think one of the things that I'd like to talk about is the peso model of communications, which I think all businesses need to be tapping into now. So my business, of course, is called Oasis Integrated Communications for a reason, because while we're talking about public relations now, and we're talking about the difference between advertising and marketing, it's really integrated communication that helps to get you super high quality results at this point in time. So the PESO model is actually meaning paid media, earned media, shared media, and owned media. So we're tapping into the different channels with different types of messaging. So with paid media, that advertising that we spoke about, yes, it's important too. So you can do ads on your social media pages. A lot of people still run traditional ads. Depending on where you are and the target audience and the requirements, paid ads are also good. There's an earned media, which is the public relations side, where you tap into the power of a public relations professional, and they help you to get your name out there. So, for example, if we're thinking about Best for Women, I think you have 200 and something followers here on Instagram now. If we were to do a PR campaign for you and we get you some stories, then you will have exponential reach, because now we are tapping into maybe some of the newspaper and the channels here in Hamilton, where you're based. We're looking at the national level, and we can talk about like one of the recent campaigns I did. I got my client an interview on CTV Toronto. I've had coverage in CBC News, some of the bigger news channels. And when you think about the reach of those media houses, millions. So the earned media side is important as well. On the shared media side, this is great because now we're sharing a platform to have this discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And then, of course, we cannot underestimate like owned media, which is like your website. So you control everything that goes on that website. Nobody can remove it. Nobody can tell you anything about where to shift, what to do, because it's your channel. So you control the information that's out. So the PESO model, once you're looking at communication, once you're looking at bringing publicity and, helping to shape the way that you are viewed, the PESO model is super important.
Okay, just to recap, it was paid, earned, shared, owned.
Owned, right.
Excellent. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Kimesha, thank you so much for joining me today. I know you and I have been working together for, over a year, and working through, what are the different ways that we can collaborate. So I'm so thankful to have you come on today to share your expertise.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great, and I'm so excited about all the amazing things that we'll be able to do to give more value and to highlight and to showcase all the amazing things that we're doing in Hamilton, and not just Hamilton, but across Canada. And pretty soon, I hope the world as well.
I love it, and I love your thinking.
Thank you so much.
You're
Have
so
a
welcome.
wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. You can find this recap here on Instagram at Best for Women and also on our website. So we'll make sure to drop all of that in the link. Stay tuned for later this week where you'll be getting some recap about our conversation. So thank you again, everyone. Have a great day.